Greetings YouTube, my name is Wizard Osmo Noble and welcome to my channel. Uh, Today is Sunday, June 30th, 2019, 10:59 up, 11 p.m. Uh, you guys know, or if you don't know, or even if you don't care, that's okay. Uh, if you didn't know, I love shooters. I love first person, third person shooters. I'm not the best at them. I'm not. I wouldn't say I suck at them. I'm pretty experienced. I've, excuse me, been playing first person shooters. Yikes, since 1997, 98, I think. Which, if I had it my way, I would have started a lot sooner than that. But excuse me. But with me, I'm not really a graphics kind of person. I'm not a graphics person at all. As long as I enjoy the game, as long as it's something that I like a first person shooter or third person shooter, as long as I'm interested in it, that's all that matters. In other words, I like a lot of the big budget shooters, and I like the low budget shooters as well. Because a lot of times, low budget shooters or games that fly under the radar, they have good ideas. They have very neat ideas, and I think that's an advantage I have, and I figure that's a good thing for you guys as well because I think there's some games out there certain people just wouldn't even touch. They're like, Damnation, I'm not playing that game. What, Alias? I'm not touching that right there. Are you crazy? With me, I try to capture. I try to play all of them, or at least most of them, the good and the so-called bad. But anyway, um, I was watching a review of excuse me, Gears of War one or two, and um, the reviewer said something about. I'm not sure if it was a review of. I think it was Gears of War. I think it was a Gears of War review, but the reviewer said something about how Gears of War popularized the cover-based shooting, and I just recently purchased the Gears of War games, not for the not the new ones, but the seventh gen. That's as far as I go. I'm not going past the seventh gen as far as buying or collecting. And so I'm going to be let's playing these games pretty soon, and I'm going to see for myself just how much they've popularized or revolutionized or whatever you want to call it, third person shooting. And I don't think it's much because when I hear the word popularized, I think like uh like they made it likable. Like when he says they're like Gears of War popularized cover based shooting, I take that to mean Gears of War kind of made people like cover based shooters. And I think that's extremely false. I think any new mechanic that's implemented decently, or or what do you call it? Any new mechanic that's implemented, uh, well, that's well set up, that works, that's functional. I think people will like it. I don't think for a minute that Gears of War made cover-based shooters popular or likable. I think people would like cover-based shooters as long as the cover mechanic or the gameplay is, you know, responsive, serviceable, enjoyable, challenging, and stuff like that. And I just don't like how they get, you know, like how Gears of War gets unfair praise or credit for a mechanic that, you know, that they didn't even create. Okay, maybe they created the roadie run. Okay, so what? The roadie run. All that is just running raw crouched. So, and I hate when people say stuff like Gears of War popularized this cover mechanic or whatever, but then they ignore all the games that have cover systems that came before Gears of War. There are a few that have clunky cover systems, and there are a few that have good cover systems. Uh, James Bond, Everything or Nothing, had a spectacular cover system. Yeah, it was kind of cheap because you could line up headshots while still in cover, pop out and shoot. But just never mind the shooting for a second. The cover system was good. I think it even had blind fire. I'm not even sure, but there are quite a few games from the sixth gen that had really functional cover systems. You know, before the seventh gen came along. Uh, Rogue Ops for the PS from the sixth generation has a very functional cover system. One of the I guess one of the most uh, popular ones or notable ones uh, um, that people may have heard of will be a Kill Switch. Kill Switch had a really decent cover system and some pretty challenging combat as well. Uh, I can't think of all of them. I, I can't even think of all of them. But you know, there were. I have to like take a look again. But there were at least like 10 games that had really good cover systems, or at least, you know, functional cover systems before Gears of War came along. Gears of War is probably the most popular game to utilize a cover system, but I don't think for a second that Gears of War made cover-based shooters popular. I think if there was another game that would have came out before, or at least around the same time as Gears of War, that had a functional cover system, people would like it as long as as long as it's functional and as long as it works. That should be all that matters. You know, but to say Gears of War popularized it, you know, means that I mean, to me, that kind of says that, like, you know, Gears of War made cover-based shooters fun. Well, no, a cover-based shooter can be fun as long as the mechanics are, you know, are sound and the gameplay is sound and you know, everything is serviceable at the very least. And that's all I have to say about that. We're going to dive more into that when I actually start Let's Playing, because from the 7th gen, there are a lot of games that have really good cover systems, really functional cover systems. I think Perfect Dark for the 360 had an okay cover system. Good as Gears of War? Who cares? It doesn't really need to be, because, you know, with Gears of War, that's almost, I think most of the time you're by yourself, but a lot of times you're with a squad. So that's a whole other thing right there. Like, you have other games like like James Bond, um, which is like which is more like it's like a spy game, Well, it's a spy game, but I don't want to call it a stealth game because a lot of Bond games don't have stealth games, and that's weird because the Bond movies, they're stealth. You know, Bond's a pretty stealthy character. You know, he's a spy. He's supposed to be stealthy, but in games, there's a little bit of stealth, but mostly it's just balls to wall action. Usually, all the stealth stuff is done during cutscenes and stuff like that. And yeah, yeah, I just don't think Gears of War did that right there because I think shooters, especially shooters, just shooters right now, not nothing else. Shooters get their inspiration from movies. I think like in movies, people take cover. Like cover is just something that happens in real gunfights and in movie gunfights. It's just common sense. Of course, it's going to be implemented into a video game, and that's another thing I don't like. Some people say like a lot of people use the term, well, if it wasn't for Gears of War, this that, and I'm like, stop. That's BS. Just stop it. Stop. I hate when people say, like if such and such didn't do this, we wouldn't have this or that, or and I'm like, that's not true. Like if somebody like whoever invented the light bulb or whatever. Sorry, I'm not good with history. It's like saying, okay, well, if this person didn't invent the light bulb, we never have the light bulb. No, like the light bulb is something that's a need. Now, if somebody didn't invent, like I don't know, the first like uh, uh, lesbian gay the lesbian magazine company or whatever, then you probably wouldn't have that ever or until this time, whatever. When it comes to like a need, well, video games aren't a need either, but taking cover and watching your back and trying to you know preserve your life and in a real life situation, or even when it comes to movies, that's a need. And cover is something you need to do. You need to take cover. You need to do it. Or else you get your head blown off, or you know, you die. And so I think like if they never, if Gears of War never came out, we would have another game with a cover system. It probably wouldn't have exploded like Gears of War, or maybe it would have. Who knows? But yeah, I don't like when people say, well, if this person didn't do this, or if it wasn't for this game, we wouldn't have this. No, we'd have it. We probably wouldn't have it as soon as we have it now. It may come later, or whatever. So, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see who's the king or whatever. Not really the king, but we'll see who has the better whatever. Because I've been playing a lot of games, and I can tell you right now there are a lot of games that have way better cover systems than Gears of War. Well, maybe not better, but just as good. Oh yeah, I'd say better. Like I was just playing Wanted Weapons of Fate for 360, and that game has a pretty decent cover system. That game has a although you could say it's from see the whole thing with Gears of War and that whole roadie run from cover to cover. Some other games have done that, but it's not really a roadie run. You just aim for the next piece of cover that you wanna run to, and you press A or you press a button, and he runs there. It's more like like you're darting or dashing from cover to cover, kind of what people did in American Gladiator, the show from the '90s, where the gladiators will be shooting tennis balls at them, and they're running and rolling, from from cover to cover. They're just, like you roll to this area, you roll to that area, you dive here, you dive there, you know, and that kind of thing. But we'll see, we'll see, we'll see who's the king, I guess. And what else is there that I want to talk about? This will be quite a long video, so you guys can leave or do whatever you want to do. I'm just giving my 2 cents and the way I see things, the way the lip sees things, and when it comes to shooters. Uh, let's see. I also wanted to talk about the whole. I guess. Well, first we'll talk about black, black and body count. I was watching body count and the review. I don't know why they keep comparing black to body count. I'm guessing the same people that made black made body count, or maybe like a few people, or a certain amount of people from the team that developed the game Black for the PS2. I'm guessing they worked on body count, or maybe they didn't. And I was watching a review for body count, and the reviewer kept saying, "Well, it's not good as Black. It's not as good as Black. I just kept playing this and wishing I was playing Black, 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 Black." And I'm like, "Is this a review of body count, or is this a review of Black for the PlayStation 2?" And as far as I'm concerned, body count is the better game. I haven't even fully played body count yet. I own it, and I haven't fully played Black yet, or played it at all. I just think that when it comes to Black, from what I've seen and from what I've heard in reviews, I've watched every review there is to watch on YouTube. And Black, they seem to get it halfway right. Like, you have these ultra realistic guns, but the enemies, they don't really, they don't really care. Like, enemies take a while to kill. They take a while to kill. Uh, or I guess more bullets than they should. They take more damage than they should just to go down, or a decent amount of damage, or an unrealistic amount of damage. And I'm like, okay, so I get it. Things look realistic. The explosions look realistic. The guns look lifelike. So why isn't the combat that way? Why go through all the trouble of making things look realistic and making explosions look realistic if you're not going to make the gameplay realistic? And I'm not sure. Maybe I'm not quite sure, but I think Black is one of those games that have the two weapon rule, where you can only have two weapons. I think I could be wrong. I know Body Count, the game that keeps getting compared to Black, and the game that people keep saying is inferior to Black. That game has a two weapon rule. You can only carry two weapons. You can swap weapons, I think, if you see something on the ground. I'm not quite sure, but it definitely has a two weapon rule. Because I was playing the demo earlier today and playing a little bit of the game. And for the most part, Black is just very generic. The only thing it has going for it is that it looks realistic. It doesn't play realistically. It just looks realistic. The explosions look good. The guns look good. But the enemies, I mean, how much damage does it take to bring them down? I'm not quite sure. I'm going to buy the game one day. It's probably dirt cheap now. It should be. And let's play it. Just to see what all the hype is about. That and just so I could own just about every shooter from the 6th gen. I own every shooter just about from the 6th gen, first and third person. And just about. And I'll just buy that one to own it as well. But I figure, like, as far as like that, it's just generic looking. At least with body count. Body count, yeah, it's overly colorful, but at least it has a little more character. At least you can do other stuff. You can lay down mines. The guns look okay. They I don't say they look. I guess they look somewhat lifelike. It doesn't matter. Like, the gameplay, I guess if it was a little more arcadey than black, I'm guessing black feels arcadey as well. It kind of looks arcadey. With body count, I think this is way better. Like there's more color. It doesn't take itself as I think as seriously as black does, and then you have neat things like little mini bosses you could fight. You have like a scoring system. Just a whole bunch of neat little things. Black is just straight up shooting. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that right there. But I didn't like how the reviewer kept saying body count was inferior to black, and I'm thinking like, what is black done? I mean, I know what it's done. I know why people like it. I just don't understand why they like it. I know why, because the guns, people like it because the guns look great, the explosions look great. But from what I've read and seen, enemies take, they don't take it takes quite a bit to bring down an enemy. Maybe not too much, but you know, more than than should be required. And I'm like, so why go through all this trouble to add all this realism to the game if it's not going to play realistically? And I'm guessing it's just for the guns. People call it gun porn. I'm like, okay, that I understand that right there, but it doesn't play. I mean, who cares about that kind of stuff? Who cares? Just because it looks good doesn't mean anything. And then there's no story, and I don't mind no story in games, but when you're going to give me no story and just realistic looking guns and that's great. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let me just stop with that right there, with that rant, and just uh, talk about something else. Well, just about the same thing actually, just a different, slightly different topic. I have this thing about the two weapon rule, and the noodles are getting cold. Shoot, I gotta hurry up. About this two weapon rule, I didn't quite notice how much it mattered until I'm not quite sure when. Until after my attempt at I'm not quite sure of the exact date, but until my attempt of the Halo Let's Play for the Xbox, the original Halo, the first Halo, I was like, I realized something, and I was like, we have enough sci-fi games, we have enough games that are just ultra realistic, or games that look realistic but have like a sci-fi edge, or whatever. We have enough of those right there. There needs to be a game where, and this came after my let's plays of Combat Task Force 121, Combat Road to Berlin, Combat Iwo Jima, and Shadow Ops. One thing I like about those games, I think all of them have a two weapon rule. But the most important thing is, even though there's a two weapon rule, your handgun is just as lethal as your shotgun or assault rifle or anything else. And after experiencing that, with those four games, and also like they're very atmospheric, so you can hear the enemy's footsteps. So basically, like, and it has they all have great lean features. So literally, if you can start shooting an enemy before they start shooting you, you're almost guaranteed to win the firefight. You're almost guaranteed. Now, what shooter can you say that about? Not a lot. I mean, Ghost Recon is a good game. Probably even the Rainbow Six games as well. But I'm not sure of the weapon limit. I know for these four games in particular, you can only use two weapons. You get some grenades here and there, maybe a knife, but you only really have two weapons, like as far as like firearms go. And that's when it dawned on me, like, this is when, I mean, if you're gonna have a two weapon rule, this is how it should be. Not for every game, but like I'd say for every other game that has a two weapon rule. If you were to give me two weapons, make them lethal. I don't want to shoot a guy 1,000 times or 20 times or 5 times to kill him. If I aim for his head, that should be it. And in those games, as long as you're hitting your guy, you don't need to shoot him more than 3 times. Not really. You shoot him once in the stomach, maybe in the chest and the head, or a headshot, and he's down. He's down. He's dead. And Halo has the two weapon rule, and it's like, why? Why? What for? When I have to empty, when I have to, empty almost an entire clip or a clip and a half into an enemy. Why is that? That's stupid. I mean, excuse me, I just farted. But why? Why is that? I mean, I understand. Okay, it's probably one of the first, maybe one of the first, sci-fi games or shooters that to have a two-weapon rule. So maybe that's it's unique. Oh, you have to choose wisely because these are sci-fi weapons. These are science fiction weapons. These are weapons of the future. So you only get to pick two. So you got to choose wisely. I mean, I don't even think headshots in Halo really matter. Now, in the newer games, in like Part 2, 3, and 4, ODST, and Reach, and whatever, maybe the headshot rule applies. But from what I've seen in Halo 1, it doesn't apply. Unless you're using a sniper rifle, headshots don't really matter. And back to Black. Again, why go through all this ultra realism stuff or all this stuff of making the game look very realistic and all this other crap when you still have to jump through like more than a few hoops just to kill an enemy? If you're going to give me two weapons, make them lethal. Make them. Why do they look real, but they don't act real? I'm using a gun that looks almost indistinguishable from its real life counterpart. But yet I shoot somebody with it and I gotta shoot him 8 or 9 times. Why is that? A shot to the back, a shot to the head, he should be done. 3 or 4 shots to the belly, he shouldn't get up. He shouldn't get up. But he gets all this praise. Oh, it looks great. It's gun porn. It's this, it's that. And I'm like, it's garbage. It's garbage. Why play that when I could just play a regular game? I mean, friggin' 13 has literally comic book graphics. Comic book graphics. But sort of real life gunplay. You shoot somebody in the head, bam, they're down. They're not getting up. They're not. You shoot a guy a few times in the stomach, like 2 to the stomach, 1 to the leg, or just, or a few shots to the chest, and he's done. And that game is comic book graphics. But I'm pretty sure, in some people's books, Black is a step above 13. How? How is it a step above? How is it? I'll tell you how. It is not. It isn't. That's just my opinion. Yeah, I just, and that's one thing that made me, opinions like that and thinking like that. That's what made me not want to buy the Gears of War games and the Call of Duty games and the Halo games until after the 7th generation was out of its prime. Because I'm like, I know they're good games. I'm sure Black is a good game. And I'm sure the hype is more than died down for it. So I'll buy it eventually, and I'll probably enjoy it. Just like I'm going to enjoy, and I have full intentions on enjoying the Gears of Wars and the Halos and the Medal of Honors and the Call of Duties and stuff like that. I want to enjoy those games. I believe, and I'm going to let's play every last one of them. And yeah, that's what you know. That's that's what I'm going to do. But it has made no sense to me how he kept comparing body count to black, saying black is better. Black may look better, or look, darker, or blacker, or whatever. But I don't think it's actually better. Black isn't any more realistic than body count. Yeah, the weapons look realistic, but not really. I guess so. But yeah, that's my personal rule. Like, if you're going to have the two weapon rule, make each weapon lethal, because a gun is a gun is a gun is a gun. They should all be lethal. They should. You should be able to take, if you can get a drop on someone, or see them before they see you. It shouldn't matter what you're shooting them with. You shoot them a few times, they should be done. Especially in the head, unless they're wearing head armor. Do they make that in games? I'm sure. Of course they do, but like, come on, man, that's just ridiculous. No, but after playing Combat Task Force 121, Shadow Ops, Combat Road to Berlin, Combat Iwo Jima, and just getting that feel, like, that's how it should be, and especially with the lean feature, like, and the foot, you can hear a guy walking down the hallway, so it's like, so you kind of know, like, when they're near you, when they're not near you, and you can just lean out and just bang bang, he's done. There's no bang bang, he turns around, shoots back at you, and runs to cover. No, it shouldn't be that right there. It shouldn't be that. No, that shouldn't happen. Not all the time, anyways. And yeah, and like I said, there are other games that do that. Like I said, the Rainbow Six games do that. Ghost Recon. Yeah, there are plenty of games that have that type of realism, but not many I could think of where you just by yourself. Because in those four games, Road to Berlin, Iwo Jima, Combat Task Force 121, and Shadow Ops, you're by yourself. Every now and then you have somebody following you around, like, for a few seconds, but that's about it. But you're by yourself and you're just creeping down hallways. You're just taking enemies out, and you're just by yourself, and you got to use your reflexes, and you got to just use your lean feature, and just whatever. If I was good enough with words, and I didn't take forever explaining myself, and I was a little more tech savvy, I'd review those games, because all those games don't really have reviews. Contra Wolf, he reviewed one of them, Road to Berlin, and I've been begging him to review Iwo Jima, but I don't see it happening. And Examine Life of Gaming, he reviewed Shadow Ops, and although he didn't have anything positive to say about it, not too much, anyways. But it's okay. It's okay. I just feel like I would rant. I feel like if anybody should be qualified to speak on them, on those games, or you know, regardless of the person's skill level, it should be someone who's willing to play, the bad stuff as well as the good stuff, and that's me, as well as Examine Life of Gaming. He reviews a lot of bargain bin or low budget games, and then a few, triple A stuff every now and then. But I figure, since I'm here, and I play all these, these types of games, the good and the bad. I should be allowed to talk about it, and my opinion should be as valid as anyone else's opinion. Not, anymore, not better or worse or anything like that. But I just love shooters. I love my shooters. So, anyways, I'll see you guys hopefully by the end of August, where I will be Let's Playing for the 7th gen, at least for a year or so, and then I'll come back to the 6th gen. Take care.